What's up YouTube, it's your boy Rhett, back at it again, another video. Today we're talking about money, fat stacks, that green, some paper. How do you go from 0 papers to 100,000 papers? I'm gonna tell you today. The alternative title, How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Grind. You can't make 100,000 papers unless you love the grind. So I'm gonna teach you today how to love the grind. Why is it important to love the grind, Rhett? Well, as I learned from one of my good friends, Gary Gulman, the thing they don't tell you about life when you're growing up, life, it's every single day. And I think some people don't realize this. If you're in college, if you're in high school, you don't understand that it's every day. You gotta get up, you gotta do this, you gotta make the money, you gotta spend the money, you gotta figure out how am I gonna make more money. You gotta do all of this every day, and it's really tough. So you have to love the grind, you have to love the process. I'm gonna teach you how to do that today. If you're a fan of Stanley Kubrick, you know how this all ends. So before the world comes to an end, smash the like button so that other people can find out how to make $100,000 from nothing. And hit the notification bell so that just in case the world doesn't end, or just in case I somehow end up being able to post content after the end of the world, you're aware of it. Like everything else in life, making money is a trade-off. And the trade-off that we're gonna talk about today is expected value versus speed of being able to execute on the different ways of making money. If you skipped out on statistics class, expected value is basically the percent chance that something succeeds multiplied by, in this case, the amount of money that you would make. So if you had a 10% chance of making $1 million, the expected value would be 10% of $1 million, $100,000. All right, so let's jump into the iPad and we'll talk about what the best ways or the different ways are that you could go from $0 to $100,000, how long they're gonna take, and what the expected value is. So here we are, welcome to algebra class. We've got a graph. On this side, we're going to have time. This is how long does it take you to make money with the given situation. And then up here, we'll have expected value, fast, slow, high value, low value. Okay, so down here would be something like the lottery. You're probably not going to win, but if you did win, you could get $100,000 very quickly, right? You could buy one lottery ticket and you could have $100 million, right? Maybe half of that because they take it in taxes. And then maybe slightly above, you'd have something like gambling. I can't spell. Gambling. A little more likely to win money gambling than the lottery, still incredibly risky. Up here would be something like becoming a doctor or a lawyer. If you do that, you're gonna make a lot of money, but it's gonna take you, here it's gonna take you like 7 to 10 years to become a doctor or a lawyer, right? Depending on what kind of doctor and what kind of lawyer. Over here, this would be like instant or days. And then over here, it would be really slow to make $100,000, but you could do it and it's pretty reliable, would be like unskilled labor. So if you just got any job and then put that money into a 401k or an IRA, eventually you would make $100,000. It would just be slower than some other jobs, and you know that eventually you get there. And then down here, something that would take equally as long, but the expected value, the risk is a lot higher, would be getting a liberal arts degree and taking on debt. So a liberal arts degree with debt, now you're $60,000 to $100,000 in the hole on student debt that you can't declare bankruptcy on, and you've gotten a liberal arts degree. How are you gonna get a job with a liberal arts degree? What are you gonna do with that? There are some things that you could do with that, but it's a big risk, right? And you don't wanna spend $60,000, $100,000, $200,000, any amount of money like that on something that's not gonna immediately ROI for you. For liberal arts majors, ROI means return on investment, and that's where if you spent $60,000 on something, you want to make $60,000 or $100,000 or $200,000, some multiple of your investment. If you get an engineering degree and it costs $200,000, you're gonna make the $200,000 back in the first 5 years, probably less than that. So then something that would be a little more reliable than a liberal arts degree, but would still take a really long time for you to make the $100,000 would be something like panhandling. So if you just panhandled on the side of the street and asked for money, people would give you money, and then you could just put that into index funds and you'd have less debt than someone with a liberal arts degree. And it's probably just as likely that you ROI with that. I don't know anyone who's done this, but I imagine, you have a $60,000 head start on the liberal arts major. I don't think it's that bad of a deal. And you don't have to take the 4 years to sit in college and waste money and time. You can just get started panhandling right away. And over those 4 years, if you invest that money that you get from panhandling, that's gonna be worth way more than your liberal arts degree degrees at the end of the day. For all of these though, it would take you a long time to make $100,000. This would be something like 20 years, but you could probably do it. Unskilled labor might even get you there faster. Depends what the unskilled labor is. Uber driving, it would take you a long time, but you could probably get there. Liberal arts degree with student debt, it's just such a big barrier to overcome. Your degree is not gonna get you a super high paying job. It's likely not to get you a super high paying job, and then you're in all the debt. It's not gonna be good. So maybe if you had a liberal arts degree but didn't take on any debt, it might take you as long as a doctor or a lawyer to make $100,000, but then obviously the doctor or the lawyer is gonna have a higher earning potential. Just because the liberal arts degree is not gonna take you 7 years hopefully to complete, you could probably do it in 3 or 4 and then start making money. So then up here, if you did what you were supposed to do in college and got a tech job or a finance job, business, and tech, that could be computer science, probably the best, or just any engineering really, that you could probably get to ROI for you in like 5 years. All things considered, you could probably get the degree in 3 or 4 years, and then in the 5th year, you could make $100,000 for sure, depending on where you went. So this would be conditional that you got a job at Google or something like that, some high paying job. Over here, probably a little faster, this you could probably do 2 years, and this would be if you just learned programming on AWS, programming or AWS, DevOps from Udemy, or Skillshare, or any of those websites. You wouldn't have to invest all your time going to college, and you could probably learn the same things there. Some companies might not hire you because you don't have the degree, so that would be why it's maybe lower expected value. You could definitely do it faster because you wouldn't have to waste all your time in school taking, science, physics. I don't need to do that. I wasted a bunch of time. I wasted money taking physics in college. What do I need? It goes down, right? Gravity happens, right? Why do I need to, this isn't making me money. So if you just took all your programming classes and really the bare essentials on the internet somewhere, it would cost you a lot less and it'd be a lot faster, right? You wouldn't need to invest all that time and money, but some companies might not hire you. So trade-off there. You don't necessarily need to go to college. Then I think probably over here, pretty risky, but also pretty slow would be YouTube or social media or blogging. Some sort of internet business, some sort of internet social media business. It's gonna be a little riskier than, going to college for being a doctor or a lawyer or tech or business or learning programming on your own. Still better, obviously, than a liberal arts degree. The problem is that some people are going to blow up on this. This is sort of a 80-20 rule thing. 20% of the people are going to do really well, and then 80% of the people are going to do really poorly. And so it's just a matter of, can you be consistent enough over 5 or 10 years to become one of those 20% of people that are really succeeding? So this is one of those things where the time investment could be really big, and there's no guarantee of any payoff, right? You sort of have to get lucky. I don't really like that. I think lucky is a bad word for it, because if you are consistent enough, I think you will blow up, but definitely not as guaranteed as some of those good college majors are. I think here something that's like relatively riskless, maybe takes you between 5 and 10 years, would be monetizing a skill you already have. So monetizing a current skill would be good because you wouldn't have to put in the time to learn the skill. You would already know the nuts and bolts of what you were doing. You would just have to put the time in to monetize. And that, if you're good enough, I think you could make $100,000. Could make it really quickly. It just depends on what the skill is, I guess. But I'd say that's pretty low risk and could take you a while, I guess, depending on what the skill is. Down here, something that's fast but risky, building a business financed with debt. So you're taking money from someone else. You might totally succeed really quickly, but you could also go fully out of business very quickly and owe somebody a lot of money. So if it works, could be really quick, but if not, you could be in trouble. Maybe be over here somewhere, would be angel investing. You could get a huge payoff from angel investing, but it's unlikely and it takes a while for the money that you invested to become your money, right? That company would have to go public first, and that could take a long time. That might even be further over to the left, but I'm gonna leave it where it is. That's a good number of examples. Hopefully that gives you some idea about what things you should be looking for when you're considering going from $0 to $100,000. I think obviously the big one is just go to college and get a tech degree or learn programming on your own. If you're capable of doing either of those, there's definitely opportunity out there if you make $100,000 in a year. It just could take you longer to learn the skills that are necessary to be hired by some of these companies. And I think the other big one is monetizing a skill you already have. If you're a genius fashion designer, you can definitely make $100,000 designing fashion stuff or whatever your passion is. If you're really good at something and you're passionate about about it and you monetize that skill, I think you could totally make $100,000. If not, get into programming, get into business. Do not gamble, do not play the lottery, and do not take on student debt to get a liberal arts degree. You know, you're not better off playing the lottery because it's, you know, probably just as risky, but just don't do that. If you're gonna get a liberal arts degree, if you're really passionate about philosophy, get it for free. Don't pay for it. If your parents are gonna pay for your liberal arts degree, fine. You'll make enough money eventually, but don't be taking out student loans to get a degree that's not gonna pay you more money than you would have been able to make in the future. And then the other one that everybody is talking about, this is like if you turn the news on, just people won't shut up about it. It's probably over here if you're a plumber. You know, you turn on the TV and people will make you think that plumbing is like the greatest job that's ever existed. I guess they make decent money and it's a trade, so you don't have to go to college, which is good. You don't have to take on that debt. I don't know anything about it, but I'm just gonna put it there based on what I've heard. It seems like a job that's not gonna be replaced by robots anytime soon. Be a plumber, man. So hopefully that's given you a good idea of the scope of jobs that are out there, the scope of things that you could do, building your own business, learning how to program, becoming a real estate agent, becoming a plumber, something you've always wanted to do. I know, you've always wanted to be a plumber. You could do it. So you could do any of these things. You could be a YouTuber. That's another one. It's just gonna take you a little longer probably to ROI on that. So next I'm gonna teach you how to stop worrying and love the grind. This is really important because once you pick one of these things, you don't wanna feel like you're stuck doing this thing, right? You wanna enjoy the process. When I was younger, I just thought, oh, I'm gonna make a bunch of money doing some math thing. And then I did, but it's not that exciting. It's kinda like, I want something else. What else could I do? So you want to really enjoy the grind. You don't want it to be just a huge slog. Oh, I don't want to go to work today, it's Monday. Everybody hates Mondays and it's crazy. You shouldn't hate Mondays. If you hate Mondays, you got a problem. So you need to enjoy the grind, and I'm gonna show you how to do that next. So a lot of my philosophies about money have come from this book that I read right after I graduated college called I Will Teach You How to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. I think he has a lot of really good resources, and I'll link all of that below. A lot of my philosophies have come from reading what he's put out, and I think if I was to boil it down to three things he talks about, the first one would be extravagantly spending money on one or two categories that you really care about. This is obviously once you have some money to spend. I wouldn't extravagantly spend money on credit that you don't have. That's, you know, bad idea. Credit card debt, the ultimate evil. Number two would be, since you're spending extravagantly on the things you really care about, you need to ruthlessly cut costs on the things that you don't care about. And then number three, this is sort of something that I've come up with, is it's not fun to ruthlessly cut costs on things that you don't care about. So I have come up with a way to gamify ruthlessly cutting costs on things that I don't care about so that cutting costs is actually fun. So I get to spend money on the things I really care about, and then I get to cut costs, which I think normally people would say, that's not fun. I don't want to cut costs. I love spending money on stupid stuff. I have come up with a little system here for you to make not spending money on stupid stuff a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. So when we're talking about spending money on things you really care about, I think it's cool to spend a lot of money on something that you find really interesting. So the first thing that I spent a lot of money on that has cultivated some good habits for me has been this little drone that I get to fly in the sky. And then sometimes I recently moved to Texas, and everyone, when I bought this drone, told me, ooh, don't fly it in Texas. People are gonna shoot it down. So the problem with buying really expensive stuff is that all of your really obnoxious friends are gonna tell you all of the ways that your purchase could go wrong. So you're gonna have to ignore that. Ignoring all of their stupid opinions is gonna be a good way for you to practice staying away from the they. That's something that DJ Khaled talks about a lot, and that's basically just removing negativity from your life. So if someone wants to tell you about why you shouldn't buy $1,000 heels or $1,000 flying robots, you know, f them. If you can, whatever this expensive purchase is that you want to indulge in, it would be good if it could be something that would promote good habits. So the drone was really cool because it got me to go outside more, it got me to adventure around, it got me to ride my bike more to places to get cool drone shots. You could find something similar for yourself. So the next, ruthlessly eliminating things you don't care about. I am addicted to video games. I love playing video games. I've loved playing video games my entire life, and I will sit in my room and I will play video games for 12 hours a day if no one comes in and stops me, or if I don't wrangle my brain down and say, hey, stop playing video games. So what I have done, I've created this little system that makes it impossible for me to buy new video games. Anytime I think about buying a video game, I instead look at the price of the video game that I'm gonna buy, and then I open up my phone, I go to Robinhood, and I buy that amount of stock. By the way, there's infinite free video games, so there's no reason for you to ever even buy a video game. You could just get addicted to one of the free ones. And then in those games, there's stupid little skins and stuff. So if you're addicted to a free video game and you're like, oh, I wanna buy the Marshmallow Fortnite skin because I think that I'm a Marshmallow DJ who rides around on a hoverboard and shoots people in Fortnite. Don't do that. Instead, take your $5 that you were gonna spend on the Battle Pass, open up Robinhood, and buy $5 of some stock that you care about. Or better yet, put it into an index fund. You don't even need to think, do I wanna buy an Apple stock? You don't know. You don't know what stock you wanna buy. Just buy all of them. Index funds, lots of stocks. So now you're probably saying to yourself, wow, Rhett is totally insane. Buying stocks is not more fun than video games. That is where you're wrong. You think it's not more fun because you haven't created a super cool spreadsheet that feeds all the same dopamine centers in your brain that you can just click, 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 update the spreadsheet, click, 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 see my net worth get updated, click, click, click. Now I have dopamine from thinking that I'm richer when all I did was buy some stuff on Robinhood instead of wasting my money on Steam. So I think if you can create a system like this where you get that good dopamine response from click, 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 updating a spreadsheet, you will also want to go buy stocks as often as possible. And I think that you could apply this system to any behavior. So if there was anything that you really wanted to do more of and create a system around, so I want to buy more stocks, I want to invest more, what I did was I created a framework for myself to find doing that enjoyable. So now I get to go update my spreadsheet and see my amount of wealth grow. And that works for me because I'm very statistically numbers, I'm a big numbers guy. But if you were not a big numbers guy, you could find out some other way to incentivize yourself to go do whatever behavior it was you wanted to do. If it was going to the gym and you really like soap operas, I'm only gonna watch soap operas if I'm on the treadmill. Or if you really like sports, I'm only gonna watch sports if I'm exercising. You could really do this with anything. It just comes down to how creative you are. If you need me to create a system for you because you're really that uncreative, leave a comment in the comment section and I will tell you how to incentivize yourself to do that new behavior. I'm really a man of the people. I'm just here to provide value. I love you all. Robinhood makes this whole buying stocks thing really easy. I just open up my phone, I click the stock that I want to buy, I click the amount that I want to pay for it, and it buys exactly that amount of the stock. You don't have to buy full shares, you can buy half shares, which is something that I really like, or less than half. Any fractional amount of shares that you want to buy. Whatever amount you want to pay, Robinhood lets you do that. I've started using Robinhood 4 or 5 months ago, and it's been really great. I have an affiliate link in the description. If you sign up with that code, we both get a free stock. It's going to be great. Robinhood is so great, it even lets you buy Bitcoin. Wow, really big brain, buying Bitcoin, the smartest decision you could ever make. Not financial advice. I wouldn't recommend buying Bitcoin on Robinhood if you're new to buying Bitcoin. I wrote an article down below on Rhett.blog, www.rhett.blog, that shows you how to buy Bitcoin for the first time based on your technical expertise and a few other factors. I'll put that link in the description. So guys, I think that's it. That's how I went from $0 to $100,000. That's how you could go from $0 to $100,000. You could pick any of those little ways to do it on that sheet, just understanding that some options are riskier than others and some options are gonna get you there faster than others. I think the best option is learning how to program. It's going to make you employable in the most places and it takes the least amount of time. And then once you're pulling in those sweet 6 figs, all you gotta do is learn to stop worrying and love the grind, like Stanley Kubrick, the greatest filmmaker of all time. And the way you're gonna do that is extravagantly spend money on the things that you really care about, and then you're going to make it fun for you to cut costs on the things you don't care about. You can gamify that however you want to. You just need to make it so that you really enjoy saving money and spending money on the things you really care about. So if you learned something in this video, leave it a like so that other people can find it. YouTube will recommend it to them, and then they will learn something too, and then we will all know how to make $100,000 from nothing. And that's gonna be a great world to live in. Imagine a world where everyone has $100,000. What would it be like? A better place than it is now. And then if you need help figuring out how to incentivize yourself to create some good behavior, leave it in the comments and I will teach you how to love the grind if you can't think of your own system. If you have your own system, feel free to leave that below. Ring the bell icon so that you can get addicted to these videos and subscribe for more tech, finance, and success videos from me. I'm putting them out every single Monday. This is going up Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern. The next video, when is it gonna come out, Rhett? Next Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Keep it tuned here, subscribe, I love you. Goodbye.